Welcome to the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. Now enjoy the show. All right, guys, I want to tell you a little bit about Type 1 Lifting. So Type 1 Lifting is a clothing brand that proceeds of the shirts, the hats, and everything else go to the Children's Diabetes Foundation. This whole t-shirt company started from me taking care of a 5-year-old girl from the emergency department at the Children's Hospital I worked at in Atlanta for a while back. I thought I needed to do a little bit more than kind of just talk about my story. So this is how I started the clothing line, because I wanted to show people that even though diabetics have this really bad disease, we can still do amazing things in our life, and diabetes won't stop us reaching our goals. So go check out type1lifting.com. And, if you have any questions, you can always reach me out on Instagram. It's Type 1 Lifting, and hope you guys enjoy the show. Hey guys, we have a new sponsor for the Type 1 Lifting podcast. The company's called Liberté Lifestyle. So Liberté is a French word meaning freedom, and the company was founded on the desire to have freedom to choose what we want to do with our lives. I actually had the owner, Nicole, on my podcast on episode 28, so if you want to go back and listen to her, she talks about how she started the company and what she wants to do in the future with the company, which is pretty cool. So they actually have knee sleeves, wrist wraps, shirts, shorts. Love the knee sleeves. I have the ice cream knee sleeves, and I love them so much. The neoprene's still good. The seams haven't split compared to other knee sleeves that I have had in the past, and I'm planning to keep these for a very, very long time. So Nicole actually gave me a promo code for you guys too. So it's all capital letters, TYPE, and the number 1. So it's Type 1. So go to libertelifestyle.com, check out what they have in the store, use the promo code Type 1, and save some coin. Now let's go to the episode. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. I have an awesome guest. Actually, it's his first podcast, CrossFit athlete, Tudor Magda. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here. It's an honor.
I can't believe this is your first podcast.
Man, it makes me sweat. I've been dodging it a little bit, but let's just do it. Let's have some fun.
Yeah. So, how did your name come about? Like, where did your name come from?
So I was born in Romania, and that's actually a pretty common name there. And so my family didn't know that they were going to move over here to the United States until I was like 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've lived here most of my life, but I still have those roots back home. And yeah.
So, what was it like for your parents, like moving from Romania to? Did they move immediately to Washington, or did they move
Yes.
some other place? Okay,
Immediately to Seattle. And I mean, to be honest, it was a big change. The lifestyle is way different here, but it was a needed change, and it was a blessing for our whole family. Like, there's a lot of opportunities. Like, if I hadn't moved, then I might not have even gone into CrossFit, stuff like that. Just like normal lifestyle stuff that I have now and I take for granted. It might not have happened.
yeah. So, do you have like any I know, granted, you're like 2. So, do you have like any thoughts, or have like any memories about like moving or anything like that?
Not too many memories about moving, but we've traveled many times there since then. So I'm familiar with the area that I lived in when I was 2 years old, and we still have family as well back there.
Okay. So, for a person that doesn't know, like, inside Romania, like, I've obviously seen the news and stuff like that. So, like,
Mhm.
what is Romania like?
It's more of a rural like country. Like, there's a lot of agriculture, um, country roads, and very sparse cities, and but the culture is very homogenous. Like, the people are open arms, open hands, like ready to welcome each other in. And uh, as far as geography goes, I it's kind of similar to the U.S. More so up here in the Northwest, but yeah. Other than that, I don't know how to relate it to. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, I've never been to Romania, so I've just always wanted to like learn about new things. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah.
yeah. So I have a question for you. So it's non-CrossFit related. So my wife Rick and I were kind of like talking it over. So would you put your Christmas stuff up before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving?
I would say after Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah, because we were having like because we just moved to a new house, and so she's like, we got to put our Christmas stuff up, just like get it out of the way. And it's like it was like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Can we just wait after Thanksgiving? And she's like, no. So of course I had the happy wife, happy life. We put it up there, and it's like, okay, next time should we wait, or I kind of want to get a census from other people, what their thoughts.
I'm not sure. Have you gotten a Christmas tree yet?
We have two. Actually, no, we have five now. So one for each one. So Christmas is a big thing for my family. So we have one tree for each room of my kids, like both my kids' rooms, and then we have two in like the great room, and then we have like a small one that's like right next to the kitchen.
Mhm.
She goes a little overboard,
Nice.
so but it's all
Sweet.
right. I'll take it. So a lot of wreaths and like all this Christmas stuff, and it's just like it's almost overwhelming to me, but it's just like, okay, you can live with it, just get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, why not seize the day, seize the opportunity, do it earlier
Yeah, exactly.
when
Awesome.
you can, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. True, true. So you just recently won the Zello's game. So how was
Mhm.
that?
Yeah, yeah. I won the in-person segment of it, and it was great. Well-run competition. Um, I've never been in an open announcement, but I would assume that it's kind of like that vibe.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it just only good things to say about it.
Yeah, so obviously you actually went against some like, pretty elite guys in
Yeah,
the whole
tough
thing.
competition.
Yeah,
Yep.
so like what was it, like going through your mind through the whole process? Obviously, like were you going in there just to say like, listen, I want to win this thing, or were you in there just to be like, hey, I just want to tune up a couple things and kind of see where I'm at?
Honestly, I went in there just trying to see where I'm at and just to get some more competition experience, like be out on the floor in front of a crowd and just perform at my best and make sure that I get those reps in because it's way different than training.
So this was your ninth actually like in-person event that you've done?
Yeah, I think the games was my ninth, and this was like my 10th. Um, yeah,
Okay. And with all the athletes there, were they like pretty like welcoming and like, helping each other out or anything like that? Like what was like the environment like in the back?
yeah, it was way more welcoming and just warm, I guess, environment. People were talking to each other. I mean, kind of like what you'd expect from an off-season event, something a little less serious than semifinals or the games.
So, what and Andrew Hiller was the head judge of that whole thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, what like obviously you've seen him on YouTube. What is he like actually in person?
He's a nice guy. We had a few short conversations, but yeah, he's also pretty big in person. He's muscular.
Yeah, it's all the TRT he's taken.
Probably.
Yeah. So, and they also did the challenge flag there too, which is kind of like the first thing ever they've done in a competition. So, do you think they should actually like put that into other events at all?
So I didn't get the chance to use that. I didn't feel the need to, but I did see some people use it successfully, and I think that it would be interesting to see it implemented at semifinals or the games. I'm wondering, like logistically, with more athletes, if that would work out because the judges would have to sort through more, uh, you know, appeals, I guess. But
Mm.
it did work out here with a smaller field, so that would be interesting. I would actually like to see that.
Yeah, I can imagine like 20 people like throwing the challenge flag. It'll just take them
Yeah,
like 2 or 3 hours just to figure out like, okay, the reps, okay, we'll subtract like a bunch of like minutes or like seconds off of your time and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I mean, I could see it as a logistical nightmare, but I do like that, like, that idea of just like throwing something different into,
Mhm.
an event like that, which was pretty cool.
Mhm. They could appoint some sort of coordinator for just challenges, something like that.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like in the NFL where they have somebody in New York like looking over,
Yeah.
looking at the like in a looking at all the games and just saying, okay, here's a review. Let me look at it and like send it off to the head judge and stuff.
The That's funny you say that, like a replay, sort of like a slow mo.
Yeah.
Actually, this actually did Zelos game. So one athlete was finishing their last handstand walk,
Yep.
and in the middle of the event, while people were still finishing up, I think her coach and her family were watching the live video back to see, because she had gotten no rep
Hmm.
and had to go back to finish another segment. And so they went back and to check that NARP and saw that both her hands actually went over the line. And so that was like a live in-person replay where she was able to win that challenge. So that that was cool.
Yeah. So that wasn't that Alex Kazan? Because I think I heard her saying that because I guess like she had both her hands in like an elbow hit, and then like
Yeah,
she had to
yeah,
go back
it
and do
was
it over
her.
again. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool thing. Like the whole like family's like watching the live stream while they're there and saying, "No, that's legit. Look, look, look."
And that wouldn't have been able to happen unless they had the challenge flag. So
Hmm. Yeah. And like I know if in the CrossFit Games or like the semifinals, it's like whatever they call that's it, and they don't change it.
it stays. And I mean, there's always human error. I mean, the judges are pretty professional with how they do it, but some judge can look at a rep and, or in this case, it was the hands going over the line and say, yeah, you got that in that split second, or the other could say, no, no rep, you got to go back.
Hmm. Yeah, and also like they actually paid these the judges too, which is
Mm-hmm.
huge because I think it'll bring like more professionalism to CrossFit, which is pretty cool to see.
Absolutely, that was cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so like, did they give them like living like did they give them like hotel rooms and everything like that, or they just paid them like just for the event?
I'm not the person to ask. I'm not sure.
Okay,
They did do some. They did give us athletes a stipend for before we got in Vegas, but I'm not sure about judges now.
okay. So what are your plans for the winning that cash from the event?
Save it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
that's all
you
I can do right now.
yeah, have you been saving a lot of your money from like your turn the competitions and everything?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just trying to, save it, keep going to the next one, get some more.
Yeah.
I'm not a big spender, to be honest, so
Okay.
that helps, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So are you a big investor? Do you like invest in anything?
Um, Not right now. No, I mainly just save. I'm a little bit hesitant on the investing side. I have a buddy that's super into that,
Hmm.
and he's trying to help me out. So I'll try to get into it.
Yeah, go for the dividend stocks. They actually pay you per quarter, and so just hold on to them long term, and you'll get your money back. So no problem.
Dividend stocks. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's all
Cool.
I use because granted, I'm like 43, so like my whole savings retirement's going to be a little different than yours. You could have a little bit more risk to yours.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. So, when you started CrossFit relatively early, I think from what I read in an article, it was like 9 years old that you
Mhm.
started. So, like, what made you get into CrossFit, first of all?
Well, I wasn't doing it full time back then. I was kind of doing it recreationally for fun. I was wrestling, and so I kind of did it for strength and conditioning. And I just thought it was fun, with all the stuff that we get to do in the gym and outside the gym. It was varied and kept me busy. So
Hmm.
great
Yeah.
way to spend my time.
So, did you guys actually like use like the barbells and weights or something like that, or you just use like PVC pipe and like body weight movements?
Yeah, I started out with like the 20-pound starter barbell
Hmm.
doing cleans, and then we progressed eventually to like the regular 45-pound bar. But no, I didn't just use the PVC. To be honest, I actually did full on weight training even
Okay.
back then.
Wow,
Yeah.
for a 9-year-old too, that's impressive.
And the doctors were saying, hey, you got to slow it down, or something might happen and stuff like that. But lo and behold, nothing really happened. It just kind of had a progression through the years, and my strength was able to improve through the years, and it went well for me, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I've had my 4-year-old daughter doing kettlebell swings with a 3-pound kettlebell, and then my son's doing like using 10-pound dumbbells for workouts and stuff like that.
That's
So,
great. That's
yeah,
awesome.
but the thing is, like, I don't force them to do anything because it's like literally because they're 7 and 4, so it's like
Mhm.
we do a thing called I've talked to this before, but we do this thing called next station where we do like 30 minutes of work and then we do
Mhm.
10 seconds to figure out what the next station is. And so my kid, I'll have like rings like hanging off like the door frame in our unfinished basement. And so one of the workouts is my son will be swinging on the on the rings, and that's his workout for the half like the 30 seconds, and then he'll just like run around trying to find something else to do.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then my daughter's like picking up the kettlebell, and then like we have like a 3-pound dumbbells too. She picks those up, and she's like, "Look at my muscles," and starts like flexing and stuff like that. And I'm like, "Gosh, I know she's gonna be the athlete of the family. Definitely know."
Yeah. Yeah. It's the variance. I mean, kids like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they can't do like one single thing except for like look at a computer screen for like forever. But like if they
Yeah.
like if my son's like all fired up and stuff like that, I'll just throw him outside, and he's like 20 minutes later he comes back in, he's like perfectly normal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So were you pretty much like a very, I know you said you did wrestling and stuff like that. Were you active pretty much like your whole childhood?
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. I did soccer before that. Um, just always tried to stay active doing a sport, and that's probably why I like CrossFit because as a kid I actually couldn't really sit down, to be honest.
Hmm.
Like in class I would get into trouble just making noise and not
Yep.
being able to sit still. So
Yeah, that was totally me. I was just like running up walls and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's sent
And
to the principal's office.
nice, nice. Yeah, same here. Like, if like I was just like like running all over the place, like ADD, like just running rampant, and it was just like yeah, and like that sports was like my thing. It was just a way to like get a get all like get all my energy out at all at once.
Mhm. Yeah.
So did you, other than soccer and wrestling, did you like any other sports at all?
No, those were my main sports. I dabbled in some flag football, but nothing like full gear, full contact. Uh, yeah, so just wrestling was, if other than CrossFit, was like the biggest focus for me.
Okay. So do you think wrestling and soccer has a great transition over to, becoming like pretty good at CrossFit?
Yeah, I would say so. Particularly wrestling, there's a mental toughness component uh, that is rarely duplicated in any other sport. Like
Hmm.
it's going on the mat and busting your lungs out, just breathing hard
Hmm.
uh, for 3 minutes, however much a match lasts, is grueling.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some wrestling matches and it's just like, God, these guys just have so much endurance. It's insane.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's definitely
I
that
agree.
grit too, especially like being pinned to the ground and like trying to like you're out of breath and you just have to like move around and so you don't get pinned.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much like willpower involved for sure.
Yeah. So you've actually been to the CrossFit Games like actually last year, but before that you were in the teens divisions too as well. So
Mhm.
when did you kind of realize that like, hey, this, I could be pretty good at this?
Uh, I mean, making it my first year in 2017 uh, was pretty cool for me. Like I kind of dreamt of that just to make it to see how it is first, and being there at the CrossFit Games, it was kind of like one of my dreams fulfilled, and I wanted more of it. And then I was like, yeah, let's go the next year and
Hmm.
kind of started on this journey of competing.
Yeah, and you're completely full time right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So do you have a job or anything like that?
No, not right now. I was in school for a while, but I'm also trying to figure that out. Like if I move my major or something like that, because I was in mechanical engineering,
Okay.
and that was a pretty high up there, grueling major. And trying to make it last year with doing that, uh, I kind of put that on pause just to go through the season and see what I can do uh, in my second year as an elite male.
Now you can throw up some crazy weight, which is like insane because like typically like you don't see now you're 20, but like you 19 and 20-year-olds like throwing that like amount of weight up compared to like, you usually see like 25-year-olds and plus higher up,
Mhm.
like throwing that weight. So like, how were you able to like, like lift all that weight? Cause it's like, it's insane.
I mean, I'd attribute it to just over the years doing the movements, the Olympic lifting movements over and over again, like since I was 9 years old.
Hmm.
Um, and as well as I had a Olympic weightlifting coach. Her name was Sarah throughout my teenage years, and she helped me a lot to just refine my technique. Even though I hadn't developed fully muscularly yet, I still had like a good base to where now that I'm actually starting to feel more comfortable, lifting weights, I can feel that alongside my prowess in the technique aspect.
Yeah. So what I think at the Zealous games, I don't know if that I saw it, but it was like over 300 pounds for a snatch.
Hmm.
What was
Yeah,
what?
I PR'd. I got 322, I think.
God damn, that's crazy. That is so crazy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That
Yeah.
I was like, I thought I saw like 330, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that was right or not, but 321.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what's your clean and jerk?
I actually haven't maxed out in a while. I would say 365 ish right now.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's insane. Insane. But yeah, it's unreal. So do you do like mainly like strength training from the beginning, or when you get towards like, competitions, do you do like more like metcons and stuff like that? So like what's a typical cycle for you?
Well, from the games to now, it was a little bit different because I mainly worked on technique, especially in the snatch. So I was really glad that I got to test that out at the Zeus games. Uh, but you do have to get under some load and feel the barbells as you get closer to the competition. So I would say the load progresses the closer you get
Hmm.
uh, to the date you compete.
Okay. Okay, cool. So obviously like being in the teens division compared to the elite men's division, there's like a huge gap. So what was your like, what were your thoughts going into, this past year's CrossFit games as an elite male? Like was like, obviously there's a lot of learning stuff to it because obviously like it's teens to elite is a completely different animal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot that you have to dial in before you can have success at the top. And I would say the most important thing for me to get a grasp on was just that I needed experience. And that's why I stepped onto the floor at Zealous Games. And that's why I'm going to Wadapalooza in January, is to just get those reps under me where I can feel what it's like uh, to compete at a competition live.
Hmm.
It's different than in teens. In teens, I kind of got through on like just passion and desire and just like loving the sport. But here you have to take every aspect of your life and have it be professionalized. Like just your nutrition, your sleep, your training, everything has to be dialed in, and that takes time, and it culminates in on the competition floor.
Hmm.
So.
Yeah, definitely. So are you like Matt Fraser when he like doesn't want to cut an avocado because he doesn't want to split his fingers up?
No, I wouldn't say I'm that extreme, especially right now, not being in the season. But I still just trying to not get hurt by like doing, going mountain biking or something.
Hmm.
Not nothing to where I'm like nervous. It gets the butterflies fluttering. Like,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
no skydiving or anything like that, right?
no.
So, did you have like, obviously you being in the elite male division, did you have like any people like to kind of take underneath like their wing to kind of like, show you the ropes and stuff like that, or just like help you out with anything?
Yeah, I have one of my coaches now. Her name's Rory. She's a past games athlete. She lives in Tacoma, and which is close to Seattle, and she's been helping me out and giving me like pointers on how she would do things, how she would approach things, and yeah, that's been a big help for me.
Yeah. Any shit talking in the back?
She's talking like with other athletes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's always shit most of the time, but I would say I'm more reserved. Like I don't go out of my way to say something, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're just like in the back corner, just chilling out and just kind of doing your own thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, yeah.
So, what was your favorite event out of this year's games?
This year's games, um, it's I think this is almost every athlete's favorite event, but the Capitol was really cool.
Hmm.
Uh, I think that them doing offsite events like that is something special because you're going outside the norm of being on the at the Coliseum or the North Park, and just the way that the event flowed from the North Park to the Capitol, that was just really awesome for me.
Yeah. How gassed were you climbing up the stairs with that sandbag?
Very very gas, very humbling moment for sure. I had to put that bag down quite a few times.
Yeah. So, did you are you working on like sandbag work now,
Yeah,
or yeah?
yeah, we're I actually did sandbag up a set of stairs a few weeks ago.
Oh, nice. How heavy
Yeah,
was the bag?
it was at 200, the same weight as the games.
Okay. How many? So, was it like going up a bunch of flight of stairs, or what were you
Yeah,
doing? Okay.
yeah, exactly. Just practicing that movement, that style.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So, what are some of the things that you took out of competing at the games this year?
Just kind of one thing was they to just try and get more experience in the off season, just to feel things out, but also to not kind of ride the emotional roller coaster as much, just to kind of take every event with like the same attitude
Hmm.
and approach it wherever you are at, but heading into that event, no matter what happened before or what might happen after, you have to kind of just shut those things off and go into it open minded.
Yeah. So, did you look at the leaderboard throughout the whole games at all, or you're just like, nah, I'm good.
Uh, yeah, unfortunately, I did look at the leaderboard, and that might be something that I don't do. I was okay with looking at the leaderboard and during my teenage years,
Hmm.
um, just to kind of get a sense of what was happening. But I because the competition is so tight now, and you cannot have a bunch of events where you're just an outlier at them, like because there's people that are going to be right behind you, uh, no matter what.
Hmm.
So now it's just like get as many points as possible, no matter what. You do your best on every event. Uh, but maybe there are some instances where you can look at the leaderboard, like let's say you're heading into the final event or something, and you kind of need to get a bearing on who to beat. Something like that would be helpful.
Hmm. Cool. Very cool. So, you've transitioned to a new coaching team. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, a lot of people are saying it's a brute team, but it's actually not. So can you
Not
kind of,
routine.
yeah, so can you talk about like who are the coaches and like, what like, and how what they're doing to help you out?
So yeah, my one of my coaches, his name was Ed. He was on the competition floor at Zelos with
Hmm.
me. Um, just a good friend of mine and helped me out a ton. And then I mentioned her name, Rory. She's in Tacoma. She helps me out with just like how it feels to be an athlete, and I work out there once a week with her. And then I also have two OG CrossFit coaches. Like one of they like originated from like 2005.
Oh,
Their
wow.
gyms like
Yeah.
uh, so Curtis and Jesse. They're both here in Linwood and Bonnie Lake, and so they just help me out with like I've been doing strongman sessions there, just like new movements, odd stuff, new gymnastics movements. They give me a whole bunch of pointers on that type of stuff.
That's awesome. So what made you go to them compared to like all the other like hard work pays off, Misfit or like Comp Train? Like what made them kind of like the team that you wanted to go to?
Well, I attribute some of it to Ed. He kind of believed in me, kind of built around me, not
Hmm.
just like I didn't want necessarily something already established, like with like a too much of a firm hold on the CrossFit space. Like I wanted to kind of try something new,
Okay.
and so I'm really grateful that they were able to. I mean, that they believed in me in the first place, and they just kind of like took me under their wing, and I have what I have now.
Nice. And so did they did you guys like sit down together to like set goals for like the rest of the year, or like in if can you talk about the goals at all, or you kind of want to keep them hush hush?
I mean, goals right now, uh, like a just kind of a way to approach things as the season goes on, like not necessarily thinking of, oh, my goal is to win, because obviously the goal is always to win. It's always to do the best that you can do. But uh, as far as how the season goes and what I want to feel like on every step of the way, that's just more so organic. It like flows as the season progresses.
Okay, cool, cool. So, with you going to Wadapalooza, so are you obviously you're going? I think you're going to individual. Did you ever think about like doing the team and individual at the same time at the same weekend?
I did think about that. That would be it would be fun, but I think that for me right now, individual is where I want to gain the most experience, and I think that it would be fun to watch the teams. That would be cool too. So yeah, right now plan is to just go individual the first 2 days and then stay there and watch my buddy James. He's competing on a team and cheer him on.
Awesome, awesome, very cool. So you were there last year too, correct?
No, last year I wasn't. I was there 2 years ago in the teen division.
Okay, okay. So what is your whole thing about Miami? Like, what do you like most about Miami? Obviously, it's like some really different compared to Seattle, like Washington. So, like, what makes you kind of like go to that competition compared to other ones?
I think the venue, to be honest, I think it's very unique the way they have it set up, and uh, working out in places like Bayfront Park where you're right in front of the bay,
Mhm.
and doing rope climbs and then going for a swim. That's just pretty cool. That's really cool to me. So
Yeah. So the year that you were trying to go, that obviously this year going into the elite division. Last year, did you get any like FOMO when you were like watching Wadapalooza last year?
yeah, a little bit, especially because they had the opportunity to touch, like I want to try those things out.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I saw it last year, and I have so much FOMO because I want to at least like go down there and like watch it. But like, and I live in Georgia, so it's like a 2 hour plane ride, if that. So it's just like, but it's like just taking time away from the family to go watch it for a weekend. It's like really hard to do. But like I've always wanted to go there in like Wisconsin and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
they're both humid.
yeah,
Wisconsin and Miami are both very humid.
yeah. Well, I mean, I live in Georgia, so I'm used to the heat and everything. So it just whatever, just like brush it off. Just don't wear black, pretty much. With you going to the Miami and stuff like that. So what are you planning to do in Miami? Are you looking to win the whole thing, or just still like working on the skills and just getting more repetitions in open competitions?
Um, just go in there and attack each event, as its own individual thing, and uh, finish the weekend strong those 2 days, and then have some fun afterward watching the teams.
Okay, very cool. So do you have any sponsors at all?
Um, we're kind of
Working on it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So if you had a sponsor, what kind of sponsor are you looking for?
Um, I'm just looking for someone that down to earth, sponsor, someone that can help me kind of reach my goals, like a product that I use on a daily basis or often. Uh, something down to earth, gritty. That's kind of my mo, I guess.
Okay, okay, very cool, very cool. So were you one of the groups of people that actually wore the tier shoes during the CrossFit games?
I did wear them for a few events, but I don't know exactly like the group aspect of it.
Well, so I guess supposedly they gave like almost every single athlete that wasn't sponsored like a pair of tier shoes.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
was one of them. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So what did you think about the sneakers?
They're pretty sweet. Nice. I like how they're kind of tight at the top and more wider at the bottom.
Okay, okay, cool. Like at least like a bigger toe box so you can spread your feet out, get better
Yeah,
grip of the
yeah,
floor. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. So, what are your thoughts on? Obviously, they're keeping it in Madison for the next year, this year, but they're moving to Alabama the
Hmm.
year after. So, have you ever been to Alabama? And like, what are your thoughts of going to the games in Alabama?
I'm just interested to see the venue. Like what venue they come up with, and if there's like a pool in that complex, or what kind of different event places they have at that location.
hmm If you think Wisconsin's humid, that
Yeah,
Alabama is 10 times worse. 10 times
and
worse.
just
It,
hot. I bet. Yeah,
yeah, you need to train there for like a month or 2 months before you even like go to the games.
a month or two
Oh,
months.
it is. I'm telling you, it is hot down there, like stupid hot. It's like you walk out and it's like literally you can cut the humidity with a knife. It's just so nasty.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, we'll see. That's 2024, right?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a bit of ways
You
away.
got
So
time. You got time.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So obviously you being in your 20s compared to like me being in my 20s, it was a little different. Like I would go out and party with my college buddies and stuff like that, and hang out and I'm not condoning drinking alcohol underage. So, but just like just going out to parties and stuff like that. So, obviously, like you're in a different like avenue, different path. In your younger career. So, like, what do you do with your friends to kind of get away from the CrossFit space?
I mean, we hang out. We have dinners sometimes and just play board games. I mean, I, I don't drink alcohol, but I try to have some fun.
Yeah. So what are some things that you do that nobody knows about? For like what do you do for fun? Like hobbies?
Uh, for fun, or I like to go outside and bike and hike, but I guess reading is something that is more private that I do that just kind of gets my mind off of things.
Do you read a lot of like fictional books or anything like that, or is it just like self-help books?
Sci-fi books.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a book you need to read by James Patterson called Toys.
Okay.
So it's a great sci-fi book. So pretty much like it's just think of like Jason Bourne and James Bond put together.
Hmm.
And it's like
Toys.
yeah, it is super it's so weird, but it's like it's super cool. You gotta it's definitely a quick read too, because like you could just like plow through that book in no time.
Hmm. Yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah, I recently finished a book called Dune.
Yep.
That was an interesting read. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah. Have you watched the movie? Like the old
Yes.
so you saw the new one. Have you seen the one from like the 70s or early 80s?
No, no, I have not. Why is it just
I
bad?
no, no, well, it's not bad, but it was like unreal at the time when it came out. And I think it's like 4 hours long or something like that. I forget like it's a long movie, but it's supposedly like I haven't watched it, but I've heard it's really good.
So the one from the 70s, what was it like? Cutting edge in technology or something? Like what?
Hmm
Like it was that? That's cool.
Yeah. And
I'd, I'd be
I think it was in the 80s. Don't that yeah, to quote like it was in the 80s, but like it was like cutting edge. It was just like this is unreal. This is like amazing. And
It's
it's
like the Avatar of the 80s.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was just
Nice,
like
nice.
it was like so out there. It was just like this is the craziest sci-fi movie like we've
Cool.
seen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That's
like
awesome.
you might get a little bored of it because it's just like I don't it's like the CGIs and all that stuff. It's like I don't know
Yeah,
about.
yeah. Well, I mean, the book is more cerebral. Like
Mhm.
it's not. You're mostly going into characters' thoughts and stuff. So, I guess the movie would kind of be the same a little bit.
Yeah. Well, speaking about movies, so like, what kind of movies do you like watching? Do you like watching like, are you like a big sci-fi guy or like Marvel superhero guy or like what kind of?
No, No, usually not that much sci-fi. I mean, I grew up with Star Wars, and I guess, but right now it mostly kind of like I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's a category that I like. I just like a bunch of different movies, but not necessarily one genre.
Yeah, I'm the same way too. Like I like I like watching the sci-fi stuff mostly, but like a superhero stuff. But like I'll watch like something else, like an action thriller, like horror movies. I really don't give a shit about. It's just I
Yeah.
just not my thing. But like I just like something that will make me think. Like Inception, when that movie came out, like my wife and I were just like watching it, and we're like, okay, this is happening, and so now they're going back to another area. Now they're going to back to another area, and like literally, like my wife and I have to like pause the movie and like talk about like okay, what level are they at now? So it's
What
like,
just happened? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel that. I've watched Inception. I might need to rewatch it. That's a good idea. Thanks for
yeah,
giving me that idea. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm trying to figure out if I'm trying to remember the last part when they like the guy Leonardo DiCaprio spun that
Yeah.
little thing and like it almost
Spinning
fell
the
over, and it's like,
No, it
okay,
didn't fall over.
no,
He
it
was
did.
spinning the
Yeah,
top and it didn't fall over, and it's like,
fell over, but it didn't. So it's like kind of like keeping you suspense. Like, okay, is this like the legit? Is he like still in like the next universe or whatever, or like all
yeah,
that kind of stuff? So I love that kind of. I love those kind of movies.
yeah, yeah, same.
So we're getting close to the end. So I have a couple of rapid fire questions, but to be honest with you, they're not really rapid fire. You can take as long as you want with these.
Okay.
So obviously it's like the new year, almost to like the new year and stuff like that. So what are your goals for the upcoming year? It could be like personal, fitness wise, even business wise. Like what do you got? What do you got planned that you want to hit?
Um, I mean, let's see how to narrow it down. I guess just perform better than last year. Like feel better, fitter than last year is number one goal. And yeah, other than that, I mean, business wise, expand further, try and do more things like this. Get myself out there. And yeah, those are some pretty good goals.
Okay, hey, I'll take that. So we kind of talked about it before, but what is your all time favorite book?
Um, Recency bias, dude, was great. I've also read. Oh, there's like this survivalist book
Hmm.
called Hatchet, and it's a really quick read, but I love that book growing up.
Okay.
I read it multiple times.
Okay. Cool.
Um,
Very cool. Any other ones?
uh, Not that I can think of right now.
Okay.
No.
All good. All good. All good. So what is in your gym bag?
Uh, a lot of stuff. I mean, something that's uh, in not in other people's gym bag would be, I guess, like gummies. I keep like energy gummies stored all the time,
Mm,
just for quick bursts of carbs.
yeah. So how long is your typical training day for you? Is it like full like 3 hours here, take a break, and then another 3 hours?
Yeah, something like that. I would say like 1.5 to 2.5 hours per session, and try and refuel during the session, then eat something after the session, go for another session,
Okay.
something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah. I keep gummies in like Sour Patch Kids
Yeah,
in my bag, mainly because when I get low blood sugar, I need to eat something real quick, and so like that has like sugar and all that stuff, so I get to eat that and like spike my blood sugar up, so I actually can go back to working out or actually like drive home without any issues.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So this one's a little deep. So let's just say it's your last day on Earth, and you have all your friends around you. How do you want people to know you as?
I mean, just a fighter, man. Just whatever, gritty, like kind of fighter, fighting through whatever life throws at me.
Okay. All right, cool. I like it. So the last question is, where can people reach out to you if they have any questions, about, being a young, CrossFit athlete, and like what they kind of what to expect as being a CrossFit athlete.
Um, I mean, I have an Instagram handle, tmagda1, and as far as social media goes, that's it. But um, you know, I don't know. I wish I would have said, like, if I was affiliated with like a a coaching group that's like group, I would have said, hey, go to their page. But right now, just that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you don't have TikTok or anything like that?
No.
Yeah, I can't stand TikTok. It's just like it's so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, me neither.
Yeah, and
I,
it's like it's crazy. Like, so do you get like crazy DMs at all?
I think I'm lucky in the fact that the craziest is just like just some oh I love you or hard eyes or something. So I haven't gotten anything like super crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're not a female, so you don't get the crazies or like
Yeah.
the other special picks. But we'll leave that there. But I just want to thank you for coming on the show. I really do appreciate just kind of learning about you, and I'm still like pinching myself that this is your first podcast too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would love to have you back on maybe after Wadapalooza and kind
Thank
of
you, man. Yeah.
see how it goes, and kind of like I definitely want to like, keep in touch with you, especially with throughout your journey.
For sure, man. It was an honor. I'm happy this was my first podcast.
All right. Well, I will talk to you later. Okay.
All right, sounds good.